Every week we do a Proverbs on here. We believe the book of Proverbs is one of the most influential books you can be reading, whether you follow Christ or you do not. The book of Proverbs, they call it, in the Bible, they call it wisdom literature. And the design of it, a lot of it was written by a King Solomon, who was the son of King David. One of the things that King Solomon did was he prayed and asked God. God said, you can have whatever you want. And he asked God for wisdom. And because he asked God for wisdom, he was blessed beyond measure. Probably by today's standards would have been one of the wealthiest people to ever live.
Sure.
But this book was written as a tool for people to use on how to be wise when it comes to the stewardship of finances, how to be wise when it comes to the stewardship of your home, of your marriage. And so if you want to read the Proverbs for today.
Yeah, Proverbs 20:7. The righteous lead blameless lives. Blessed are their children after them. I'm going to repeat that. That's Proverbs 20:7. The righteous lead blameless lives. Blessed are their children after them.
What do you get out of that?
So the righteous is the statement. What follows is what the righteous is. So he's defining righteous. Lead blameless lives. I mean, that's the definition of righteous.
It is.
So he's developing, 6,000 years ago, the first dictionary, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And then blessed are the children after them. It's self-evident. If you're leading a blameless life, please.
Blameless is kind of a Christianese word, I think.
Okay.
So if you follow us, I like this word Christianese. We sometimes use this biblical language, and if you don't know the Bible, maybe it's tough to understand kind of the context of what we're talking about. And so when you think of the word blameless, I think very often when we think of this word righteous, we start to think about self-righteous, and so we start to think about our lives as without fault. And that's not what a blameless life is.
No.
Nobody's lived a perfect life except for one man, that's Jesus. And so the righteous is a blameless life of a person who's chasing that or seeking that is when we make mistakes, we recognize the mistake that we make and we deal with it, whether we need to apologize to people, but it's a course correction. So I don't continue to live in that pattern. And I think that's when we think about righteous or we think about blameless, I think that's the understanding we need to have there. It's that it's not you're never going to reach perfection. It's just the goal is.
It's the direction.
Mm-hmm.
It's the arrow that you're pointing your body towards. It's
That's right.
The direction you're heading in.
That's right.
I wrote, doing that which is right, free from wrong, guilt, or sin.
Yeah. I wrote integrity.
Oh, integrity. That's perfection.
Yeah.
That's perfect. It's, if you've done wrong, we've spoken about this so much already, but it's always worth bringing up. I say, don't let the sun go down in your anger. I say that because the Bible says it.
Mm-hmm.
If you've wronged somebody, Christ actually tells you, put your coins down. Don't give them to the temple yet. Go back and mend that thing with your brother. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a demand multiple times in the Bible for you to, the recognition, that you're going to get it wrong sometimes. They recognize that consistently. And they always give you the direct thing you should be doing, which is trying to mend that fence.
Mm-hmm.
It's trying to remedy or rectify, rather, that wrong that you caused.
Yeah.
And whatever that looks like, by the way.
And real true integrity is built when nobody was watching. Right. And so how am I living my life when I'm not out in front of people?
Mm-hmm.
Will usually dictate how I live my life when I am in front of people.
Sure.
And so living that life of integrity, living that a God-centered life, all the time is our kind of our focus. So the how do I do that is, we talk about this all the time, is I spend time with them. How I build God-like, Christ-like integrity is.
How do you spend time with them, Andy?
For me, it's the Word. I mean, I think
when do you do that?
I do it different times throughout the day.
Okay.
Sometimes I usually like to try to do it at the beginning part of the day.
Mm-hmm.
I have this idea of first fruits. Because as I go throughout the day, wake up early, work out, do everything we do, go to work all day. By the time I get home at the end of the night, I'm worn out, ready for bed. Yeah, and so to try to give my efforts to spending time with God at that point in time, just for me personally, I just feel like I'm checking a box rather than like trying to draw near to the Father. And so I like I like to do it during the daytime. Most of the time, I try to do it with the book open, with the Bible open, but there are days where I just need to be up and going. And so sometimes I'll hop in the car. YouVersion is a great Bible app, and you can actually just plug it into your car and hit play, and it'll play the whatever you're trying to listen to. So,
Oh, really? Okay.
yeah, so
Great.
sometimes it's just a matter of listening to it. But I just find personally that when I'm listening to it, my ADHD kicks in, and I start thinking about 18 other things I need to do that day. So I really try to focus in on just making sure I'm cracking the book open for a little bit each and every day.
Yeah, that's kind of my path too. It's the first thing I do in the morning. I always have enough time to do it. I did it today, and today was a busy day. I had to drop my son with his dad because I'm a stepfather.
Mm-hmm.
And he's spending a week with him for this section of the holiday season as we're rounding the corner on New Year's. And I still made some time. I woke up earlier. Why? Because this is important to me. It's the most important thing I can do for me. You can find some time in your midday. It's knowing yourself. It's knowing who I am, and knowing that if I don't sit down first thing and crack this Bible open and read and digest, I'm not going to do it any other time. I just know me well enough.
Yeah.
Now I have become, and we've spoken about this now I'm probably 10 weeks into doing this, maybe 8 weeks into doing this. Every night before I go to bed, I crack the Bible, I find a passage, I read it, and then I go meditate for 10 minutes. And I just sit there and dwell on whatever that piece is that I read. And I've been doing it just kind of random. Here I am. Okay. All right. Yep. And then I just go into meditation and I kind of dwell on those words. Whatever words stick in my head, it starts out kind of repetitive. So I'm just repeating these words, and I have no great revelations still as of yet. But I think, as we always talk about, it's about intention.
That's it.
And what I'm doing is I'm trying to honor God more frequently throughout each day. And I want to know him better. And some guy mentioned, the guy who started that app. What app was that? The prayer app.
For the pray app.
It's something like that. It was, but his is a meditation one. Doggone it. I should have wrote it down.
We'll put it in the show notes.
I'll put it in the show notes. But that guy mentioned that he does that. And that's how he actually came to the revelation of starting that app. I just think it's kind of cool. Like, it gives this window of time where I can maybe hear that still small voice in a loud and busy day.
Well, I think the important part that you said there too is the intention part, because blessed are the children that are after the second parts of that verse. Like,
Right.
Why am I doing this? So I can bless the children that come after me.
Yes.
So as we get into our topic for the day about fatherhood, I think so much.